Hello everyone, and welcome to our finals team builder for Season 2 of the CGC Draft League, where we are facing none other than Don, coach of the Portland Timbers, for our finals match. Don is a crazy good battler, an amazing friend, I adore the guy, and honestly I was quite saddened at the start of the league when all the pairings for the weeks and such came out with the divisions and such, that he was going to be on the other division to us, so we wouldn't be playing in the regular season. I had my fingers crossed that we'd hopefully be able to play in the top cut, as we both made it here, and we're here in none other than finals. So yeah, that worked out perfectly and such. And yeah, it's going to be a very great match. His team is it's insane. Like, I can't believe how well crafted it is. It's just got such a good combination of speed, bulk, and offense that just makes the options for him weekly just so flexible. There's so much you can do with his team, and so many things that I have to try and cover for, which it's definitely not possible. Like, I can't cover for every option. So yeah, for this week's very much been about making the right calls and what to expect from his team, and I can only hope that I'm right on at least half of them, and hopefully I can adapt well enough if I have to any surprises. So yeah, let's get right into what I'm most worried about with his team before going over ours. So his first one was Iron Bundle. Bundle is notoriously good in VGC for Gen 9 for sure. It's probably one of the best uses of speed booster energy. It's one of the fastest ones in the game, and with the booster energy, like, it's faster than Aleki. Like, you can basically outspeed whatever you like with completely uncontested. It's quite insane, honestly. So that amount of speed control paired with the somewhat respectable special attack, it just makes it a force to be reckoned with. It gets Icy Wind, of course, which means you can really pair it nicely with some strong other attackers with, like, you know, the speed drop and then just smacking something, which he definitely has built a good team to make use of that with some of those fast attackers he's got. So yeah, tough stuff. It also gets Freeze Dry, which makes the combination of water plus ice, considering the Freeze Dry, a really hard offensive combination to deal with. Like, the fact that, you know, water would usually wall both its attacks, but freeze dry deals with that, it's not an easy mon to wall either. So yeah, definitely a force to be reckoned with. And he also solidified the snow mode, I believe, by getting a Bomber Snow as his round 2 pick, which I think was just such a smart decision. What I like about Snow in Gen 9, unlike some of the other weathers, is that it doesn't feel very committal. You don't always have to go so hard into the snow, unlike maybe the Hail from, you know, previous gens, which was already hard enough as it is because of the limited options Hail kind of gave you. Snow, I love the addition of Snow in this generation, and yeah, Don's just done a really great job at kind of just putting it into his team without having to commit to any crazy weather, because you can just run good stuffs with it, and that's exactly what Bundle and Bomber Snow provide with the rest of his team, to be honest. I think it's also a very smart pickup, because even though Bundle is a very strong mon, it's not the most flexible thing in the world. It does get some cute options like Encore and such, which can be very difficult to deal with, you know, especially when I don't know it's coming, because, you know, this is not open 2 sheet. But being able to open up the Blizzard spam as well with the Bomber Snow, like, it's just a very deadly combination. Like, it means Specs Bundle is definitely something to be more worried about. It might, because I'll be honest, even though I've kind of hyped up the booster energy, I don't really expect booster energy from him this week, just because of speed tiers. He already outspeeds everything. I just feel like he might get more use out of some other item, like maybe a Focus Sash or something, but we'll see, of course. Yeah, Bomber Snow, outside of just supporting Bundle and the Snow and such, it's a great mon in its own. It's got a bunch of weaknesses, but that's where the Terror comes in, which really benefits it well this generation, as well as the fact that, you know, the Snow is a great buff for it, because now it's not just, you know, setting a weather and mons are taking chip damage per turn. The fact you're getting a 50% boost, you have already respectable defenses. Like, it's a great boost for a Bomber Snow. It's also got respectable offensive stats, and it can both go physical and special, which means I can't really just, like, invest too much in one side to deal with it. So yeah, it's really cool mon, to be honest. I think you get Earth Power as well, so, you know, Ice and Ground is always great coverage. It's got priority and Ice Shard, which can allow you to do a few fun things. It also allows you to set Aurora Veil, and that's one thing I didn't really touch with Bundle. Both can do it, of course. Bundle often wants to be clicking a more offensive attacks, but they can both run it, and being able to add screens to the already insane bulk that his team has, I just feel like it's going to be really hard to break, even with, like, super effective attacks. So yeah, that was a very, very good pickup from him. I don't remember exactly what the order was for the rest of these mons, so we'll just go from the top here. Ceruledge was an insanely good pick. You know, you've got 2 ice types, even though Bundle is neutral to fire and such. Getting them on that has flash fire is just very, very strong, of course. You know, it's not like Bundle is taking much on the special side unless you're trying to put an assault vest on it. So yeah, Ceruledge is just a great all-around mon. It really appreciates the screen support if you're going for that route. Similar to, I feel like I always compare Ceruledge to Annihilate in Ghost types this generation, because even though they do play a little bit differently, they do feel like they're similar in a way by just how they're, you know, decently balanced stats, good physical attack and ghosts. So I mean, it doesn't just get flash fire, of course. It also means it also gets weak armor, which is a very deadly tool to have your hands on in Draft League, because he definitely has some good activators of it. Like, you can totally run flip turn on Iron Bundle and just give your Ceruledge like weakness policy and the weak armor. I mean, you don't even have to run weakness policy, you could just run weak armor just to get your speed boost and then some other fun stuff there. Like, it's a very deadly combination to have at your disposal, so that's something that I have to worry about once again. Garchomp, I think was a very late game pickup. I think I kind of forgotten that Don could even do any other A tiers. I think it was like round 7 or 8, just picked up Garchomp, and then honestly my jaw dropped. Like, this, I could not believe how he just managed to get away with getting Chomp in like round 7 or 8. Insane mon, and Ice and Ground, as I already mentioned, is just such a good offensive combination that makes Bundle and Garchomp really difficult to deal with. Chomp, you know, it's got a bunch of good physical options. It can also run Swords Dance to boost itself up, which with all the bulk on this team, like, you probably find many good opportunities to do that. And our team doesn't really like ground types, you know, like, we've faced Richie with the Crocodile, and like that was already bad enough. I feel like Garchomp is like the final boss of the ground types in a way, so it's really all coming together for this finals, that's for sure. It's also got Rough Skin. I don't really see him running Sandvale with the team that he has, but Rough Skin is just such a good ability. You know, taking chip damage like that per turn if you hit it with a contact move it really adds up, and it's something that I was definitely finding a problem this week until I decided to make a certain adaptation. You'll see on my team in a bit that I've kind of made a choice on my team that kind of hopefully deals with the Rusket and such. You know, forcing me to make a decision like that because of one ability on a mon, like, that's powerful, you know. So yeah, very, very powerful top tiers here. He's also got Gengar as a B tier, you know, even though it's maybe not as distinctive as a mon in VGC at the moment. Like, I think it's just because it's outclassed by some other fast ghosts and things, you know. Fluttermane. So, yeah, Gengar's a solid one all around. It's got great speed, 110. It means it outspeeds the majority of my team. It's also got great special attack, and even though it may be frail, all you need to do is slap a sash on it, and you're guaranteed taking 2 hits, which means more chances for Curse Body. You know, it's a shame it doesn't get Levitate anymore, but that Curse Body can be really useful in a pinch, you know. So, especially because of how Don's team is built, there's a lot of great defensive typings and combinations and such. All it takes is like for one of my coverage moves to be disabled by hitting Gengar to kind of mean I can't hit something else. Like, for example, say I'm going for like a dual stab Annihilate or something. I hit Gengar with a Rage Fist, that gets disabled. I can't touch it anymore, can I? I can't hit it with the fighting move of choice. So yeah, that's a powerful tool, and I'm really hoping that the RNG doesn't get us too bad if it does come. We've got Pincurchin next, which was a genius choice, and considering he's got Bundle, so now he doesn't even have to run Booster Energy if he wants to get that Quark Drive. You can just straight up set the terrain and get the boost that way, which is not something you often see in VGC, because Pincurchin, sadly, unlike Torkoal, isn't really the most viable mon, but as a C tier, like, it's such a respectful choice here. It's not got loads to write home about, in fairness. Like, the Electric Terrain is good. It definitely misses the Rising Voltage that it got in Gen 8 for sure. It also gets Lightning Rod, which isn't bad. If you're worried about electric types, then I guess you could run that as a fun tech, just, as maybe as a surprise as well to deal with any electric moves that I'm trying to hit the bundle with or something, so that's cool. Outside of that, it's not too much crazy, but it's got okay bulk. It can run Sucker Punch, which is decent. I think it gets a few water moves as coverage. Like, there's some fun options there. I also think it gets the Toxic Spikes, which, well, I don't really expect Pincurchin anyway, so I haven't practiced against it too much, but there's some fun stuff you can do with it. As well as the fact you've got Hawlucha. Hawlucha was an amazing pickup, considering you've got Pincurchin as well, because now you've got something that can get an Unburden boost, which I think one of the best ways to activate Unburden in more recent gens is via the terrains and the seeds and such. So just slap an electric seed on Hawlucha and you've got a very nice pairing there. So yeah, very scary mon overall. It's got once again, it's just a very blindingly fast mon at 118, I believe. So fortunately, our Noivern does slightly jump it, so at least we have got a couple mons that do jump Hawlucha. But it's still just really difficult. I think the main crime of Hulucha, maybe why we didn't put it in the B tier for this league, is the fact it doesn't get Tailwind, which is really tragic considering it did used to, I believe, when it was first introduced as a mood shooter move, but they decided just not to give it Tailwind, despite it being a TM again, so kind of sad, but, you know, at least in this situation it helps us out, because, yeah, Tailwind plus all this, it's just even more options that we do not want to have to deal with, so, yeah, Holy Shit, there's, honestly, it's one of those mons that, well, like, it's got so many different things that it can do that it's really hard to predict what kind of set he'll be running if he does bring it. I think the weakness policy, unburden potential, maybe like with an Ice Shard proc on the Abomasnow is the thing I fear the most, just because, you know, all it takes is a big boost in damage and then a big acrobatics or close combat into one of my mons, and it can probably just take things out very quickly. So if I'm not prepared for it, that thing can just sweep me very fast, I'm sure. So yeah, Holucha, once again, a massive threat. I'll go over Berserker next. Berserker, I honestly think is very good into our team. I've of course been doing a bit of scouting into what Don's strategies have kind of been week by week, and I don't think he's actually brought Berserker once. But I found in testing with the front office that it is kind of good into our team. You know, slap an assault vest on it, fake out pressure. I think can be kind of good into our team. So this could be the week to do it. I'd be really interested to see if he does decide to commit to maybe something that he's not as comfortable with in the final week, because I definitely think he's capable of making that adaptation, of course. I think if he's going to be running any ability on it, it'll probably be Tough Claws. It just really boosts the damage quite nicely. You know, so just a stronger Fake Out, an Iron Head, Shadow Claw. You know, there's a lot of good options he gets. It also means gives him a more of a pivot option in U-turn if he wishes to do that as well. So yeah, even though it's kind of just a middle of the road one, I think it could be good into our team. And then the last ones, Gothorite and Wigglytuff. I adore the fact that he picked these two up. I think he made a couple trades early on in the draft. Oh yeah, because he had Delibird initially, which was so cool with the whole Iron Bundle and such, but I was very sad to see him swap that out, but it admittedly was the right choice, because it really gives Don a really nice layer of modes, because what the Gothorita offers is, of course, Shadow Tag, which is insanely powerful of a tool into any team, really. I think the fact I've got such good ghost types means he won't be interested in really pulling this strat, but you know, it's something that if you trap something at the right time, then you can get swept very quickly. And then you've also got the Wigglytuff, which opens the Perish Trap mode, so yeah, just a very diverse, very cool team overall. There's so many good options, a lot of proc options already about as well, which you can probably get away with that kind of cheese in draft, with like the Holucha and the Unburden, the weakness policy stuff I've said about, the weak armor. There's just a lot going on here. So yeah, I think I've kind of touched most of the things I'm worried about with this team, and I'll go over what we've decided to bring for our final week here. So we'll start with our favourite gold, our A-tier ghost, Golden Go. I say favourite, you know, they're both favourites in my heart. These two have been amazing. You know, little spoilers on the fun set we're running here. But as for Golden Go, it's kind of standard this week. We're running Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and Protect. The Life Orb, I really like the damage boost this week, so I'm hoping that we'll be able to one-shot bundle with like a Make It Rain using the Life Orb, because without the Life Orb, I don't think we can really get that kind of damage onto bundle, so yeah, I just really liked the extra damage it provides compared to a more defensive item like Leftovers or Citrus or something. And then as for the moves itself, I think we did test Power Gem at one point. I thought it could be cheeky just to guarantee bundle as well, hit a Abomasnow quite nicely, but Make It Rain is already good enough into those mons, and I realised that if I don't have the Nasty Plot to threaten, like maybe like potential setup on Don's team, then it just doesn't feel as strong of an option. So I thought, let's just play it safe, go with the set we all know and love. And Terra Water just seemed like the most effective Terra type to go with this week for the Golden Go. We've got a few Terra Water mons, as you'll see. Even though Don's coverage is just insanely good, there's not really like a type I love to say that deals with all. You could say I just think Water is probably the most effective, because I like Golden Go's matchup into the Snow mode of Abomasnow and Bundle, and they're the only two that can really touch Terra Water, being the with like a, you know, the Leaf Storm, Wood Hammer, whatever Abomasnow's going for, or the Freeze Dry, the Bundle will be. And you can play good mind games of that, because you know it's unlikely that Don's gonna just try freeze drying Golden Go until the Terra Water's revealed. So if I Terra at the right moment, that can go really well for me. As for the spread and such, don't remember too much exactly about what I was looking for this. I know this should definitely get any bundle that isn't very bulky on the special side here. It's just like a benchmark, you know, it's a bump here. So, you know, it's just a nice amount of special attack to hit while not sacrificing the bulk too much. The speed, it was kind of a weird one. Like, I wanted some speed, I knew, this week, but I didn't know how much to do, mainly because of the Serral, because I'd really love to jump the Serral, because we're very similar speed tiers and such, and it'd be really nice to be able to threaten a KO into it before we can, like, get damage into me with Bitter Blade and that kind of stuff. So if I can outspeed it, that would be nice, but I didn't want to commit too heavily into the speed and then sacrifice all of the bulk we've got, you know. So if we outspeed Serral, great. If not, oh well, we tried. So as for Annihilate, we've got the punching glove you saw. So this is what I was talking about when I said about the whole rough skin stuff with Garchomp. So for anyone that doesn't know what punching glove does, we can bring up a description here. So basically, you get a 10% boost to our punch it moves, which happens to be all of our attacks this week with Drain Punch, Rage Fist, and Ice Punch, but also means you don't make any contact with it. So we can hit the Garchomp with one of our punch moves, namely Ice Punch, hopefully, and we won't take any damage. So that could be really, really useful this week. We're also going for Terra Ice. I've realised that even though Terra Water is good on some ones, I actually really like the Terra Ice with the Annihilate, mainly because not only are you getting a 50% boost in our own defences if you take advantage of the snow that Don may set up for us, but it means we're also getting stab on the Ice Punch, which could guarantee a KO into Chomp, because it's kind of like a range, I think, depending on how bulky he is, whether that gets the KO. So yeah, I just really like the option for it this week. Defiance seemed like the most effective ability. I think mainly the Icy Wind stuff on the bundle is what I'm scared of, so being able to deter that is a very powerful tool to have. So yeah, not much else to say other than that. I kind of wanted a fair bit of attack this week because we haven't got any bulk up or anything, so it's important that we can still hit decently well, considering we won't be able to boost ourselves up unless it's through the Defiant getting, you know, proc for us. And then, of course, just a nice bit of bulk to round ourselves out. I realised that Annihilate wasn't really worth investing much speed into this week. You know, it could even be an advantage to be slower than the Serral, because unlike Golden Go, where I'm like really trying to get a big hit into it before it gets a Bitter Blade off, it actually might be more beneficial if the Serral hits us first, because then we get a Rage Fist boost, meaning we'll get more damage and hopefully a KO into it. So yeah, that's the main idea behind that. I was very tempted to go Leftovers with the Annihilate, I will say as well, though, because the Punching Glove and Leftovers argument is very much in the up in the air. Even as I'm speaking right now, I'm still tempted. Do I go Leftovers in the end? I think I still want to do Punching Glove because it's just way cooler, you know. That's the thing. You'll see. I'll explain a bit more why I was considering the Leftovers in a bit, because it's mainly derived around the Jolteon strategy we've got going this week, which I'll get to very soon. But yeah, moving on to our next one here, we've got Noivern. We've got the Focus Slash this week. I just really like the security it provides. We've got Dual Stabs of Draco Meteor, Air Slash, and then Tailwind Protect. So the first draft of this team, like, I've went through so many iterations of what I think is going to be most effective against Don's team, and Noivern wasn't actually there at first, and I kind of just kept losing, and I realised, you know, name of the game in VGC, you need speed control. So even though the bundle and all the snow mode kind of scares off the Noivern, you could argue, I realised that it's still important that we have it as an option, and we just need to play it differently to perhaps like lead turn 1, Tailwind and such. It's probably going to be more of a mid-late game kind of Tailwind setter, if I had to guess, based on how we probably end up playing it. So yeah, the Draco Meteor is just good into most of his mons. I don't think Don's got a Fairy type other than the Wigglytuff, and I don't really expect that to come. So, you know, it's good into most things for just a big hit. Air Slash is just nice, you know, if we're outspeeding, it's good to maybe get a flinch chance. It's not bad into the Bottom of Snow as well. And then Protect, I do think there might be moments where, you know, especially if the bundle unfortunately does, you know, we get kind of positioned into in front of the bundle, we can have an option to defend ourselves, you know, without having to commit to the Terra Steel that I've decided on. It's not really a Terra I expect to use this week on the Noivern, but it's like a desperate measure kind of situation. Say we need to like take a Dragon Claw, maybe an Icy Wind Freeze Dry or something from the bundle and Chomp and such, we can just Terra Steel on them and hopefully get them good and maybe get up an extra Tailwind or one more big attack that we need and such. I've got enough speed just to jump the Gengar if it goes Timid Max Speed. I don't really expect Don to do a Timid Gengar this week, it just doesn't really make sense with our speed tiers, so I'd expect a modest one. But you never know, it's just a nice benchmark to know that we guarantee outspeed Gengar if we're in front of it, because the idea of not knowing just is not something I really want to deal with. And having Focus Sash as well, it doesn't mean the bulk is that important. So even though, like, we could go Timber max if we wanted, you know, and outspeed the Holutra and all that. But you know, I feel like we might as well just jump the Gengar. That's a good benchmark. And then say it takes 2-3 hits to get rid of us, then having a little bit more HP could be nice. The Frisk, of course, as useful as ever. It just gives us information which can help us and the way we play the set out. I must admit, I was so tempted to do Infiltrator this week, just because of the screen potential. Like, Infiltrator ignores Reflect Light Screen or Reveal, all that, so that could have been a fun choice for Noivern, but considering its main role is kind of getting the speed control, I didn't want to commit to that kind of play when I think the Frisk is just going to be more useful. I think that's the main issue with Noivern, honestly. Even though the Frisk is amazing for this closed team sheet stuff with Draft League and all that, it is kind of a shame that we don't really get to use its other abilities as much because it just feels too good to pass up, you know? Because Infiltrator, like I've just said, is tempting against teams that like make good use of screens and such, and then we have Telepathy as well, which, especially with the first half of our draft, we've got like a couple ghost types, we end up, you know, back when we had the Dunsparce and all that, like the idea of like some Boom Burst stuff seemed really fun and cool and such, but when you just want other abilities and Frisk and such, it just made it harder to really work as well, and so yeah, I'm not going to say like Noivern hasn't done great for us this season. It's been incredible, absolutely adore what it's done for us, but it's kind of sad we didn't get to explore more options, you could say. But yeah, anyway, Jolteon. Jolteon, I'm expecting to be the star of the show this week. You know, it's kind of shown up a few times over the season and done very well. It did great into Kira's team, you know, in the top 8 match. Came once or twice in the main part of the season, but it's kind of just been there, you know. A lot of the time it just doesn't feel worth it, but this week, this is the one, y'all. Charming, Irian Pulse are so important this week. I basically, like, Don's team is just so strong and fast that I feel like the main way to get through it is to outlive his threats and buy damage mitigation. So being able to charm the Garchomp, charm the Ceruledge, Irian Pulse the bundle, or straight KO up with a Thunderbolt, like, that is just going to be really useful. And you'll notice we've got the Flame Orb and the Quick Feet. I can't remember if I've used Quick Feet this season. I've definitely considered it a few times, but this might be the first time we're going for that. I just feel like this is the week to do it, because you've got the bundle there hitting, you know, slightly faster than our own one, so just being able to get a boost to our speed and then jump hit is going to be so useful. Like, just being able to threaten it with a KO with Thunderbolt is just going to be so nice to have, and it means that also if the bundle's trying to combo Icy Wind plus, you know, attack, it means that we also can still outspeed, even at -1, a lot of the threats such as Garchomp. That's the speed we've got on this week. I could have went a little bit faster to guarantee stuff like Gengar and such, but like I've already mentioned, I'm kind of expecting a modest one, and we will outspeed a modest Gengar with this speed investment. So I just thought like jumping a max speed Chomp is kind of just a good benchmark to have, and then putting a lot into our bulk, which is definitely needed, because even though Jolteon with this set, I think it's going to put in a lot of work. It definitely needs a lot of bulk to really support it nicely, because it definitely lacks the stats in general. So, yeah, that's basically the plan this week. Lead Jolteon plus, I think Annihilate is probably one of our best leads, I'm hoping. Maybe Golden Go, but I think Annihilate just kind of hits things better because of the Garchomp. I don't like having to really Terra turn 1 if I go Golden Go and chomps in our face, you know. So Terra Ghost, I don't really expect to Terra Jolteon, and I wasn't really. I considered flying first of all, just, you know, because it'd be cool to be immune to Chomp, but it's not like our Jolteon beats the Garchomp per se, so I don't think that was important. We did practice against the Berserker a little bit, and I found that Fake Out Pressure was sometimes a little bit annoying, so, you know, if we absolutely need to in this desperate situation, I just thought a Fake Out immunity via our Terra Ghost could be nice to have. So yeah, that's Jolteon. We've got, so I'll be honest, like the first 4 here, these are very much the core that I'm expecting to be the most effective into Don's team, and then the last 2 are kind of like backup options, or, you know, just alternate options, you could say, based on maybe the way he's playing, and if just seeing how it plays out. These could be good things to fall back on. Oh yeah, I just want to mention the whole leftovers thing with Jolteon. That I've shown you this. I just feel like with the damage mitigation of Charm and Irian Pulse, having leftovers on Annihilate might just be so much more efficient of an item. Like, who cares if we're taking a bit of rough skin damage, right? If we're going to recover it off in just a couple turns, and then, you know, take a little bit of damage with Annihilate, and then just recover more HP as we're getting effective charms and Irian Pulses off into all their mons. I just feel like it could be so much better of an item, but I haven't practiced with it as much as the punching glove, which we've really committed on, so I think this is probably what we're going to go with. So, you know, if it changes in the battle, then, you know, you hit. Here's the explanation why. So, but yeah, so we've got Avalugg. Very similar to the set with Richie last week. You know, I love how Avalugg's kind of been a sleeper pick for our season this entire time, and it's kind of just come in at the end to really do what I want it to. Let's just say 184 base defense, and we're facing a snow team. Like need I say more? Like, if he wants to hit us with physical attacks while we are, we're still a nice type, assuming that we haven't Terrans and the snow's up, like, we are not dying. This Avalugg is so bulky. It's kind of crazy. We've got Icicle Crash, Stone Edge, Body Press, and Terra Blast. So I've decided on Icicle Crash over Ice Spinner this week, even though I do hope the accuracy won't screw us if we need it. I just think it's better to go Icicle Crash when you've got the Garchomp there and the rough skin. You know, it's just nice to avoid that chip damage, because Avalugg really doesn't appreciate that, like any physical attacker really. So it also means that I think it puts us in a more favourable range to KO the Holucha in one attack. With our attack investment, it just means that it's got a higher chance to KO than Ice Spinner would. Stone Edge is very important to hitting the Sterile Edge. We need to have something to hit the Sterile Edge. We've got the Terra Water with the Water Terra Blast, of course, if we absolutely need to as well. But I just want something that's, you know, an option with a hand to commit to the Terra. Because I'll be honest, if I'm bringing Avalugg, I think it's mainly because Don's done very well into us with, like, his snow mode, and I want something that can feel really strong into that mode, you know? Like, I don't really want to Terra Avalugg if I have to, because I'm trying to jump. You know, I'm trying to capitalise off of the snow that he's using on us. So, Body Press, I don't know how much we'll need it, but, you know, it's good to hit Bundle on Bomber Snow for decent damage. If the snow's up, it's not going to do a crazy amount, but it's still nice to have. So, I didn't really think we needed much else there, so that's why we decided on that. And the ability is actually cool, because we actually get to go Ice Body this week, which is kind of the ability you'd expect to use the least on Avalugg, because Sturdy is obviously great just to make sure you don't go down in one hit, or Own Tempo is great if there's any, like, confusion or intimidate stuff going on, but I don't think Don has any of that really. So, you know, Ice Body is actually the most efficient. You know, be able to heal off like it's our own leftovers plus the Assault Vest. It's just really nice to have. Of course, there is a great mix of physical and special attackers that are strong on Don's team, so I really wanted to make sure we are maximising our special defence, so full investment in there, a decent amount of attack, looked at the calcs as such, seems like a decent range to have, and then the rest in HP, of course. So yeah, I don't know if we will be bringing this, but it'd be cool if we could. Then the last mon, I went back and forth constantly on all kinds of different strats this week. We tried a Scarf Gardevoir, could have been fun with an Icy Wind and such, kind of like our Mr. Mime of the first season, you know, but it wasn't really working as an attacker, like our Golden Go was. It just felt like an inferior version, so I thought, why bother with that in the end? Even consider Trick Room, you know, just to have that mode, but I just couldn't really get it to work. Skuntank. Skuntank's been an absolute champ this entire season, but sadly, I just couldn't get it to work this week. We tried a couple different sets, but that Garchomp, it just feels like a little bit too much for it. So I decided against that. We've got Knuckle Stack. It seems like a fun idea, especially with the Charm Ear Impulse stuff. Being able to Salt Kill some stuff is cool, but the issue is that you kind of want to constantly switch out if I'm just lowering your stats. So that means the Salt Cure is kind of only getting 1 or 2 turns before you're switching. I just feel like it's a bit too passive of a strategy in general, so decided against that. And then Arboliva, just with that snow mode and Sterile Edge, even though it seemed like a fun idea, I just couldn't really get to work either. I think I tried a Quick Claw set with Strength Sap as a fun idea, but no, it wasn't reliable. Venomoth, though, was the one that seemed to have the most promise. So kind of a cool set here. We've got Acid Spray, Sleep Powder, Toxic Spikes, and Rage Powder. Now, Venomoth is meant to be an annoyance here. I don't really expect to bring it. This is a niche option if I see the opportunity. So I just touched on how I think the Charm and Eerie Impulse stuff going on can cause Don to switch well. So if Don starts adapting well in like a Game 1, Game 2 situation, I may end up going for Venomoth in like the next game in order to hopefully get a Toxic Spikes up. Now the idea of that is that if he's going to be constantly switching, I want to punish it. So if I can get some hazards up, then that's going to be really nice. And of course he has got mons like Berserker and the Gengar and such that don't care for the Toxic Spikes, but you know, the main things I'm worried about are like the Bundle, the Sterile Edge, and the Garchomp. So if I can just get that poison and whittle them down, then I think it will turn the tides in my favour quite quickly, to be honest. So yeah, if we can get that off, that'd be awesome. But even if I don't, like, I think it's a very fun idea to bring at the very least. We've got Sleep Powder, of course. You know, Venomoth isn't something we've used that much this season, so it's hard to say how prepared he'll be for Sleep Span if we do decide to go that route. I think Venomoth plus Golden Go could be a fun idea this week if we're trying to get some setup, maybe some Sleep Powders going on as an alternate mode to like the Jolteon, so that could be good. And then Rage Powder for redirection to kind of, you know, further that strat as well. It's just a good tool to have. Again, it's not the bulkiest Venomoths. The Citrus just seemed like the most logical choice to go with, and the Shield Dust is pretty nice. You know, it means that we're not taking any Icy Wind speed drops. We're not going to get flinched by any fake out from Berserker. It just means that there's a bit of security in our strategy overall. Because of what Venomoth's trying to do here, I don't really need an attack per se. I did consider Sludge Bomb, but I decided that Acid Spray might be more useful if we're trying to combo it with a Golden Go and Noivern and stuff like that. So yeah, that is the team. I think I've kind of touched on everything I want to, so yeah, there's nothing more to say other than I really hope you join me in the finals. It's going to be a really hype match, I hope, and yeah, I think I've got quite a fun team here to go for our last hurrah, you could say. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you'll join me then. See you later, everyone. Take care.